The Tylons were a peaceful race. They lived on a small green planet called Tylo. For many years, they were happy. They did not fight wars. They did not build big weapons. Instead, they made art, grew food, and studied the stars. One day, a big ship came to Xylo. It was from the Galactic Confederation. The Confederation was a group of many alien races. They ruled most of the galaxy. The ship landed, and tall, strong aliens stepped out. The leader of the aliens looked at the Tylons. He frowned. "You are too weak," he said. "You do not deserve to be part of our galaxy." The Tylons were confused. Their leader, a small blue alien named Zix, spoke up. "We are not weak," Zix said. "We are kind. We are smart. We want to be friends." But the Confederation aliens did not listen. They laughed at Zix. "Kind, smart, that is not strength," they said. "You cannot fight. You cannot conquer. You are useless to us." The Tylons were scared. They did not want to leave their home. But the Confederation had big guns and many ships. The Tylons had no way to fight back. Zix tried again. "Please," he said, "this is our home. We have lived here for many years. Where will we go?" The Confederation leader smiled. It was not a nice smile. "That is not our problem," he said. "You have one day to leave. If you are still here tomorrow, we will destroy you all." The Tylons were shocked. They could not believe this was happening. Some cried. Some got angry. But they knew they had no choice. All night, the Tylons packed. They took food and water. They took seeds from their plants. They took books and art. They took anything that would help them remember their home. They had some old ships. These ships were for studying space, not for living in space. But now, these ships would have to be their new homes. As the sun rose on Tylo for the last time, the Xylons said goodbye to their world. Families hugged each other. Friends cried together. Then, one by one, they got into the ships. Zix was the last to leave. He looked at the beautiful green hills of Tylo. He looked at the purple sky. He looked at the silver buildings where his people had lived and worked. A tear fell from his eye. "Goodbye, Xylo," Zix whispered. "I hope we can come back someday." Then Zix got into his ship. The door closed behind him. With a roar, the Cylon ships lifted off. They flew up, 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 until Tylo was just a small green ball below them. The Confederation ships watched them go. As soon as the Tylons were in space, the Confederation ships started to land on Tylo. They were already making plans for their new planet. In space, the Tylons looked at each other. They were sad and scared. They did not know where to go. They did not know if they would find a new home. But they knew they had to try. Zix spoke to his people over the ship's speakers. "We are not weak," he said. "We are Gylons. We are kind. We are smart. We will find a new home. We will show the galaxy that being peaceful is not the same as being weak." The Cylon ships turned away from their old home. They flew into the dark of space. They did not know it yet, but their journey would change the galaxy forever. And far away, on a blue planet called Earth, humans were looking up at the stars, wondering if they were alone in the universe. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. The Xylons floated through space in their small fleet of ships. They were lost and alone. At first, they tried to be brave. Zix, their leader, told stories of hope. He said they would find a new home soon. But as time passed, hope began to fade. The ships were crowded. Food was running low. The Tylons were not used to living in space for so long. Many got sick. Some of the older Gylons died. It was a sad time. One day they saw a planet. It was green and blue, like their old home. Everyone got excited. "Maybe this can be our new Xylo," they said. They flew down to the planet. The air was good. There was water. Plants grew everywhere. It seemed perfect. But then, They met the aliens who lived there. These aliens were big and had sharp teeth. They did not like strangers. They chased the Xylons away with loud noises and bright lights. Sad and scared, the Tylons went back to space. Zix tried to cheer everyone up. "We'll find another planet," he said, but some Xylons were starting to lose hope. They tried more planets. One was too hot. Another had no water. A third had mean aliens, just like the first. Each time, the Tylons had to leave. On the ships, things were getting worse. The food was almost gone. The water recyclers were breaking down. Some Xylons started to fight with each other. They were tired and angry. Zix knew he had to do something. He called a meeting of all the Tylons. "Friends," he said, "I know things are hard, but we must not give up. We are Tylons. We are kind. We are smart. We will survive." An old Xylon named V stood up. "But how?" she asked. "We have no home. No one wants us. Maybe the Confederation was right. Maybe we are too weak." Many Xylons nodded. They were starting to believe they were weak. But then, a young Xylon named Lux spoke up. "We are not weak," she said loudly. "Look at what we've done. We've survived in space for months. We've faced scary aliens. We've kept going when things were hard. That's not weak. That's strong." The Tylons looked at each other. Lux was right. They had done all those things. Zix smiled at Lux. "Thank you," he said. "Lux is right. We are strong in our own way. We don't need big guns or sharp teeth. We have our minds. We have our kindness. And we have each other." The Tylons started to feel better. They remembered who they were. They were not warriors, but they were survivors. Zix had an idea. "We've been looking for a planet just like our old home," he said. "But maybe we need to think differently. Maybe our new home will be different. Maybe it will be a place no one else wants." The Tylons thought about this. It was a new idea, but it made sense. So they changed their plan. They started looking for planets that other aliens didn't want. They found a small rocky planet. It wasn't pretty, but they could live there. For a while, things got better. The Xylons used their smarts to grow food on the rocky ground. They built homes in the hills. They even started to be happy again. But their peace didn't last long. One day, a Confederation ship found them. The mean aliens were back. "You don't belong here," the Confederation leader said. "This planet is ours now." The Tylons were scared, but this time they didn't just run away. Zix stood up to the Confederation leader. "We found this planet," Zix said. "We made it our home. We won't leave." The Confederation leader laughed. "And how will you stop us?" he asked. Zix looked at his people. They were small. They had no weapons, but they were not weak. "We'll find a way," Zix said, "because that's what Cylons do. We don't give up." The Tylons cheered. They didn't know how they would win, but they knew they would try. Their journey wasn't over yet, but now they faced it together, stronger than ever. The Tylons were running again. The Confederation had chased them from their rocky planet. Now they were lost in space once more. Their ships were old and breaking. Food was low. Hope was even lower. Zix looked at the stars. He was tired. "Where can we go?" he thought. Then he saw something new. A small blue dot in the distance. "What's that?" he wondered. As they got closer, they saw it was a planet. It was blue and green and white. It looked beautiful. But the Tylons were scared. Every time they found a nice planet, bad things happened. "Should we try?" Lux asked. She was the young Xylon who had given everyone hope before. Zix thought hard. "We have no choice," he said. "Our ships won't last much longer." So the Tylons flew towards the blue planet. As they got closer, they saw it had one moon. They also saw small objects flying around it. Satellites. This planet had life. The Kylons were excited but nervous. What if these aliens were mean like the others? What if they chased them away too? Suddenly, their radio made a noise. Someone was talking to them. "Unknown ships, please identify yourselves," a voice said. The Tylons were shocked. No one had ever talked to them nicely before. Zix answered, "We are the Tylons. We come in peace. We need help." There was a long silence. The Tylons waited, scared. Then the voice came back. "Xylons, we hear you. Please wait while we contact our leaders." The Tylons looked at each other. They didn't know what to think. Were these aliens going to help them or hurt them? Hours passed. The Xylons waited. Then a new voice came on the radio. "Xylon ships, this is the Secretary General of the United Nations. We welcome you to Earth." Earth. That was the name of this blue planet. And these aliens, these humans, were welcoming them. The Secretary General kept talking. "We have many questions for you. But first, do you need immediate help?" Zix couldn't believe it. These humans wanted to help them. "Yes," he said. "We need food, water, and a place to land. Our ships are very old." "Understood," the Secretary General said. "We will guide you to a safe landing place. Our teams will bring you supplies." The Tylons cheered. For the first time in a long time, they felt hope. As they flew towards Earth, they saw more of the planet. It was beautiful, with big oceans, green forests, and white clouds. They also saw big cities with tall buildings. They landed in a place called New Mexico. It was a desert, but the Tylons didn't mind. Any land felt good after so long in space. When the ship doors opened, the Tylons were nervous, but they saw humans waiting for them. The humans looked different from the Tylons. They were taller and had less colorful skin. But they were smiling. A human stepped forward. She had dark skin and kind eyes. "Welcome to Earth," she said. "I'm Dr. Maria Chen, the head of our first contact team." Zix stepped out of the ship. He was shaking a little. "Thank you," he said. "I am Zix, leader of the Xylons. We are grateful for your kindness." Dr. Chen smiled. "We're glad to help. We've always hoped we weren't alone in the universe. Meeting you was a dream come true for us." The other Xylons started coming out of their ships. They looked around with big eyes. Everything was new and strange. But for the first time in a long time, they didn't feel scared. Humans brought food and water. They had doctors ready to help sick Xylons. They even had translators to help them talk better. As the sun set on their first day on Earth, the Xylons felt something they hadn't felt in a long time: peace. Zix looked at his people. They were smiling and talking with the humans. He saw Lux playing with some human children. They were showing her how to kick a ball. Maybe, Zix thought, we've finally found a place where we belong. But he knew it wouldn't be easy. The humans would have many questions. And what if the Confederation found out they were here? Would they cause trouble for Earth too? Zix sighed. Those were problems for tomorrow. For now, he was just happy to be safe. He looked up at the sky. The stars looked different from Earth, but somewhere up there, he knew was their old home, Silo. "We made it," he whispered. "We're not weak after all." Days passed. The Xylons stayed in the place called New Mexico. They learned more about Earth and humans. Humans were very different from other aliens they had met. They were curious and kind. But not all humans were happy about the Xylons. Some were scared. What if they'd bring trouble? These humans asked, what if more aliens come? The leaders of Earth had a big meeting. They called it the United Nations. People from all over the world came to talk about the Xylons. Should they let them stay? Or should they send them away? Zix and some other Xylons were invited to the meeting. They were nervous. This meeting would decide their future. The meeting room was big. Hundreds of humans sat in rows. They all looked at the Xylons as they walked in. Zix felt very small. The leader of the meeting, a woman named Amara, spoke first. "We are here to decide if the Cylons can stay on Earth," she said. "We will hear from everyone before we choose." Many humans spoke. Some were kind. "The Cylons need our help," one man said. "We should welcome them." But others were not so nice. "We don't know anything about them," a woman said. "They could be dangerous. We should send them away." Zix listened to everyone. He was sad that some humans didn't trust them. But he understood that Cylons were very different from humans. Finally, it was Zix's turn to speak. He stood up. His legs were shaking, but he knew he had to be brave. "People of Earth," Zix said, "we know we are strangers to you. We know you are scared, but we are not here to hurt you. We are here because we have nowhere else to go." Zix told them about Silo, their old home. He told them about the Confederation and how they were chased away. He told them about their long journey through space. "We are not strong like other aliens," Zix said. "We don't have big weapons. We can't fight well. But we are good at other things. We can help you learn about space. We can teach you about other aliens. We can work with you to make Earth better." The room was quiet. Everyone was thinking about what Zix said. Then, a surprise happened. Lux, the young Cylon, stood up. She wasn't supposed to speak, but she had something important to say. "Humans of Earth," Lux said. Her voice was shaky but strong. "You are the first aliens to be kind to us. You gave us food when we were hungry. You gave us help when we were sick. You listened when we were scared." Lux looked around the room. "We may look different. We may talk different, but we are not so different inside. We all want a safe home. We all want to be happy. Please, give us a chance. Let us show you that we can be good friends." The room was very quiet. Then, slowly, one human stood up and started clapping. Then another, and another. Soon, many humans were clapping and cheering. Amara had to ask for quiet. "We have heard from everyone," she said. "Now we must vote. Will we let the Cylons stay on Earth?" The voting took a long time. The Cylons waited, holding their breath. Finally, Amara stood up again. "We have made our decision," she said. Zix closed his eyes. He was so scared. "The people of Earth have voted to welcome the Cylons," Amara said. "They can stay." The Cylons couldn't believe it. They hugged each other. Some cried happy tears. Humans came to shake their hands and welcome them. But one human, a man with a serious face, came to Zix. "I hope we made the right choice," he said. "What if the aliens who chased you come here?" Zix hadn't thought about that. He looked at the man. "If they come," Zix said, "we will face them together, humans and Cylons, because now we are one family." The man nodded. He still looked worried, but he shook Zix's hand. As they left the meeting, Zix knew their troubles weren't over. But for now, they had a new home and new friends. It was a good start. Months passed. The Cylons started to make Earth their new home. It wasn't easy. Everything was different. The food, the air, even the way people talked. But the Cylons were happy. They were safe. Zix and the other Cylons worked hard to fit in. They learned human languages. They tried human food. Some even started wearing human clothes. It was strange at first, but they got used to it. Humans were curious about the Cylons. They asked many questions. "What was your planet like? How do your spaceships work? Can you teach us about the galaxy?" The Cylons were happy to share what they knew. They told stories about their old home, Silo. They showed humans how their technology worked. Humans were amazed. One day, a human scientist named Dr. Lee came to Zix. "We want to work with you," she said. "We think we can learn from each other." Zix was excited. This was what he had hoped for. "Yes," he said. "We would like that very much." So, humans and Cylons started working together. They made teams to study different things. Some worked on spaceships. Others looked at ways to clean the air and water. Some even studied how to grow food better. Lux, the young Xylon who had spoken at the big meeting, joined a team working on medicine. She had always been interested in healing. The human doctors were surprised by what she knew. Xylons see things differently, Lux explained. We can see sickness in ways you can't. Maybe we can help you find new cures. The human doctors were excited. They started testing Lux's ideas. Soon, they made a big discovery. They found a new way to fight a bad disease. It was all because of how Xylons and humans worked together. News of this spread fast. People all over Earth were talking about it. The Xylons aren't weak, they said. They're helping us get stronger. But it wasn't just medicine. Cylon knowledge helped in many ways. They showed humans how to make better solar panels. They helped design new types of computers. They even taught humans how to grow plants in places where nothing would grow before. Zix was proud of his people. They were showing humans that being kind and smart was just as important as being strong. One day, Zix visited a human school. The children there were learning about space. When Zix walked in, their eyes got big. "Are you really from another planet?" one little girl asked. Zix smiled. "Yes, I am," he said. "Would you like to hear about it?" The children cheered. Zix spent hours telling them stories about Xylo and their journey through space. The children asked so many questions. They weren't afraid of Zix at all. As he was leaving, a little boy came up to him. "When I grow up," the boy said, "I want to be friends with aliens like you." Zix felt warm inside. This was more than he had ever hoped for. But not everything was perfect. Some humans still didn't trust the Xylons. They said mean things and sometimes even tried to hurt them. But most humans stood up for their new alien friends. One night, Zix looked up at the stars. He thought about how far they had come. From losing their home to finding a new one. From being called weak to helping make a whole planet better. Just then, Lux came to him. "Zix," she said, "the human doctors want to try something new. They think we can make people healthier than ever before. Isn't that amazing?" Zix nodded. "It is," he said. "But Lux, always remember, we're not just helping humans. They're helping us too. We're learning to be brave, to try new things. We're growing stronger together." Lux smiled. "You're right," she said. "Earth isn't just our new home. It's where we learn that being different can be a strength." As they stood there, looking at the stars, Zix felt hopeful. Yes, there were still problems to solve. Yes, the galaxy was still a dangerous place. But here on Earth, Xylons had found more than just a home. They had found a place where they could be themselves, where being kind and smart was valued. And that, Zix thought, was the greatest strength of all. 3 years had passed since the Tylons came to Earth. Life was good. Humans and Tylons worked together, making amazing new things. Earth was changing fast, getting better every day. But far away in space, trouble was brewing. One day, as Zix was working in his lab, a human named Jack ran in. Jack worked with Earth's space watchers. He looked scared. "Zix," Jack said, out of breath, "we've spotted something. Big ships coming this way. They're not ours." Zix felt cold all over. He knew what this meant. "The Confederation," he whispered. "They found us." News spread fast. Humans and Xylons gathered to talk. What should they do? Some humans were angry. "You brought this trouble to us," they shouted at the Tylons. But others stood up for their alien friends. "The Tylons are part of us now," they said. "We'll face this together." Earth's leaders called a big meeting. Zix and other Gylons were there. So were human scientists, soldiers, and leaders. "The Confederation ships will be here in 3 days," a general said. "We need a plan." Everyone started talking at once. Some wanted to fight. Others wanted to hide. It was chaos. Then Lux stood up. She had grown a lot in 3 years. She wasn't just a young Cylon anymore. She was a respected scientist. "Listen, please," Lux said. The room got quiet. "We can't fight the Confederation with big guns. That's not our strength. But we have something better." Lux looked at the humans and Cylons in the room. "We have our minds. We have our kindness. And we have each other. That's our real strength." She turned on a big screen. "Look at what we've made together," she said. Pictures flashed by. New medicines, better spaceships, clean energy machines. This is what the Confederation fears. Not weapons, but progress. The room was silent. Then Dr. Lee, the human scientist, stood up. "Lux is right," she said. "We've done in 3 years what the Confederation couldn't do in 100, because we worked together." Ideas started flowing. Humans and Cylons worked day and night. They built new shields for Earth using Cylon and human tech. They made special messages to send into space, showing the good things they had done. As the Confederation ships got closer, Earth got ready. Not with guns, but with hope. The day came. Big, scary ships appeared in the sky. People all over Earth looked up, afraid but brave. A message came from the biggest ship. "This is Admiral Zark of the Galactic Confederation. Surrender the Tylons or face destruction." For a moment, everything was quiet. Then a voice answered. It was the leader of Earth, speaking for all humans and Tylons. "This is Earth. The Tylons are not our prisoners. They are our friends, our family. We stand together." Admiral Zark's voice came back, angry now. "Then you will all be destroyed." But before the Confederation could attack, something amazing happened. The special shields that humans and Cylons made turned on. A beautiful light covered Earth. The Confederation ships fired their weapons, but nothing happened. Their attacks couldn't get through the shield. Admiral Zark was shocked. "Impossible," he shouted. "How can you weaklings have such power?" Zix spoke up. His voice was carried by the human Cylon tech, reaching every Confederation ship. "We are not weak," Zix said. "We are strong because we are kind, because we work together, because we learn from each other." As Zix spoke, the big screen on Earth started showing messages to the Confederation ships. It showed all the good things humans and Cylons had done together. New medicines saving lives. Clean energy making the planet better. People of all kinds living and working in peace. Some of the Confederation aliens were amazed. They had never seen anything like this before. Admiral Zark was still angry. "Attack," he ordered, but many of his ships didn't move. One Confederation captain spoke up. "No, Admiral. This is wrong. These people aren't our enemies. They're doing what we should have done long ago. They're making things better." More and more Confederation ships started backing away. They didn't want to fight. Admiral Zark looked around, shocked. His great attack was falling apart. Zix's voice came again, strong and clear. "Join us," he said. "Let's make the galaxy a better place, together." The battle wasn't over. Admiral Zark and some others were still angry. But for the first time, the Confederation was unsure. They had come to destroy weakness. Instead, they found a new kind of strength. On Earth, humans and Cylons hugged each other. They knew hard times were still ahead, but they had faced their biggest fear together, and they had shown the galaxy a new way. Zix looked at Lux, at his human friends, at the amazing world they had built together. He smiled. "We did it," he said. "We showed them what real strength is." The story of Earth and the Tylons was just beginning, but it was already changing the stars. The days after the big space battle were busy and exciting. Earth was buzzing with activity. Humans and Tylons were working harder than ever. But now, they had new friends. Many Confederation ships had stayed near Earth. They were curious about this strange planet where different species lived together. Some alien visitors even came down to Earth to see things for themselves. Zix was busy meeting these new aliens. He told them about how humans had welcomed the Tylons. He showed them the amazing things they had made together. One alien visitor, a tall purple being named Kroll, was amazed. "In my whole life," Kroll said, "I've never seen anything like this. Different species working together, helping each other. It's beautiful." Zix smiled. "It's not always easy," he said, "but it's worth it. We're stronger together than we ever were apart." Meanwhile, Lux was leading a team of human and Cylon scientists. They were teaching the new alien visitors about their medical discoveries. "By combining our knowledge," Lux explained, "we've cured diseases that neither of us could fix alone. Imagine what we could do if the whole galaxy worked together." The alien scientists were excited. They had so many new ideas to share, but not everyone was happy. Admiral Zark and his loyal followers were angry. They still thought the Cylons and humans were weak. They wanted to fight. Earth's leaders called a big meeting. This time, it wasn't just humans and Cylons. Aliens from all over the Confederation came too. They wanted to talk about the future. The meeting room was packed. There were beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors. Some floated in the air. Others needed special suits to breathe, but they all came to talk and listen. Admiral Zark spoke first. He was still angry. "These weaklings tricked us," he shouted. "They must be punished." But then something surprising happened. One by one, other aliens stood up to speak. They didn't agree with Zark. "We were wrong about strength," said a small green alien. "These weaklings did what our big guns couldn't. They made life better." Another alien, tall and shiny, spoke up. "I've seen their hospitals," it said. "They're healing people we thought were lost. That's real strength." More and more aliens shared stories of what they'd seen on Earth. They talked about the new inventions, the clean energy, the way different beings worked together. They were amazed and impressed. Finally, it was Zix's turn to speak. He stood up, feeling nervous but brave. "Friends," Zix said, looking around the room. "For too long, the galaxy thought strength meant big weapons and fierce warriors. We Cylons were called weak because we didn't fight. But now we know better." Zix pointed to the humans, Cylons, and new alien friends around him. "True strength is here. It's in kindness, in working together, in using our differences to make new and amazing things." The room was quiet. Everyone was listening closely. "We don't want to fight the Confederation," Zix continued. "We want to join you, to help make the whole galaxy a better place. Together, we can solve problems we never could alone. We can explore new worlds, cure more diseases, and create wonders we can't even imagine yet." As Zix finished speaking, the room erupted in cheers. Aliens of all kinds were clapping, whistling, and making happy sounds. Even some of Zark's followers looked convinced. Zark himself looked confused. His anger was fading, replaced by wonder. The leader of Earth stood up. "We have a choice to make," she said. "Do we continue the old ways of fear and fighting, or do we try something new? Do we work together to make a better galaxy for all?" The vote was clear. Almost everyone chose to work together. It wasn't the end of all problems. There was still much work to do, but it was the start of something new and exciting. In the days that followed, big changes happened. The Confederation transformed. It wasn't about power and fear anymore. Now, it was about cooperation and progress. Earth and the Cylons were welcomed as full members. Zix looked out at the stars one night. Lux and some human friends stood with him. "It's funny," Zix said. "We came to Earth thinking we were weak, with nowhere else to go. But we found our real strength here. And now, the whole galaxy is changing because of it." Lux nodded. "We're not just changing the galaxy," she said. "We're making it better, together." As they watched, a new ship took off from Earth. It was the first of many exploration vessels, crewed by humans, Xylons, and other aliens. They were off to explore the stars, not to conquer, but to learn and help. A new era had begun, an era of friendship, discovery, and hope. And it all started because a weak alien species found refuge with humanity.